Hi, Innisfil. It is Friday, May the 22nd, and with me today is our Member of Parliament, John Brassard. John, were you in Ottawa this week? Weren't you
I
not?
was. Got back yesterday and a quick 2-day trip as part of the COVID-19 committee that is looking into how we can make things better for Canadians. I spent Wednesday in the House of Commons and got to ask some questions of the Minister of Public Safety about Lake Simcoe. So really trying to draw some local issues into the House of Commons during this crisis.
That's great. So, hearing from some businesses that things are pretty tight right now, and I know that there's that new program for rent subsidy for commercial businesses or commercial lessees.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that for
Sure.
me?
Well, the application process launches on Monday, May 25th. It's been a long time coming. It was announced roughly about 6 or 7 weeks ago. Very prescriptive in the beginning, but a lot of pushback from opposition parties, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, as well as the Chamber of Commerce of Canada to really open it up. And so basically what it comes down to is that the government, both provincial and federal, will subsidize commercial rent but to the tune of 50%. The tenant is required to come up with 25%, and the landlord is required to, or is being asked to come up with the additional 25%. A lot of it is dependent on the landlord buy-in, obviously, and I know that locally I've been on the phone, Mayor Dollin, with many commercial landlords, and they are trying to work with their tenants through this process. Many of them, the tenants and the landlords, I mean, obviously the obligation is there to pay the rent. So we've gone through the cycle of April, May now, and then of course June is next week, and so rents are expected then. So I'm really hoping that the program itself will work, but the application process opens up on Monday, and I know that it's been widely anticipated. A lot of businesses are counting on this to make sure that they survive through this pandemic.
Great. Any other updates federally that people in Innisfil might want to know?
Well, June 1st is tax deadline date, and we haven't heard of any extension. The good news is that for those who receive federal benefits like the Canada Child Benefit, GIS, and OAS, typically what would happen is it would require you to file your taxes in order to receive the benefits that would reprocess themselves every July. Well, that's been extended a few months. So even if you don't get your taxes in by June 1st, you will not see any reduction or any loss of those benefits going forward. But of course, you want to make sure that you get your taxes filed if you're able to do that. So that might be something of interest to Innisfil residents. But try to get your taxes done, but you don't need to worry about a reduction of those benefits or a loss of those benefits if you don't get them done. I expect that the government's going to announce an extension of the tax filing deadline. We just haven't heard anything at this point, but that could come in the next few days.
That's great, John. Thank you for that. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for always advocating so strongly for your riding here in Barrie-Innisfil. We appreciate all your efforts.
Well, thank you, Mayor Dollin, and thank you for doing this. I think it's important, to communicate with our residents, and you've been doing that consistently. We've been doing that out of our office as well. Information is critical at this point. So thanks again for doing this and for having me on.
Thank you, and have a good weekend, Innisfil, and we'll talk on Monday.
Have a great weekend, everyone.